Purpose. A management contract is a legally binding agreement between a company, often referred to as the client or principal, and a management company, referred to as the manager or service provider. It is a contractual arrangement where the management company is hired to perform specific managerial duties and responsibilities on behalf of the client. The purpose of a management contract is to delegate certain operational functions, decision-making authority, and expertise to the management company. This allows the client to focus on its core business activities while entrusting the management of specific aspects to a specialized entity. The management contract typically defines the scope of the management services to be provided, including areas such as strategic planning, financial management, operations management, human resources, marketing, and other relevant functions. It outlines the rights and obligations of both parties, the term of the contract, the compensation structure, performance indicators, termination provisions, and any other specific terms and conditions agreed upon. Management contracts are commonly used in various industries and sectors, including hospitality, real estate, sports, entertainment, and professional services. They provide a formal framework for the engagement between the client and the management company, ensuring clarity and accountability in the management relationship. It's important to note that a management contract is distinct from an employment agreement, as it involves the outsourcing of management services rather than the employment of individual executives or managers by the client company. Key clauses. When drafting management contracts, several key clauses should be included to clearly define the rights, responsibilities, and expectations of the management entity or individual. While the specific clauses may vary depending on the industry and nature of the management agreement, here are some important clauses commonly found in management contracts. Scope of services. Term and termination. Compensation and payment terms. Duties and responsibilities. Reporting and performance metrics. Indemnification and liability. Confidentiality and non-disclosure. Intellectual property. Dispute resolution. Governing law and jurisdiction. Scope of services. This clause outlines the specific services that the management entity will provide. It should include details regarding operational management, financial management, staffing, marketing, and any other relevant areas of responsibility. Term and termination. This clause defines the duration of the management contract and provides provisions for termination, renewal, or extension. It may also include conditions under which either party can terminate the agreement, such as material breach or non-performance. Compensation and payment terms. This clause specifies the compensation structure for the management services, including the management fees, profit-sharing arrangements, and any performance-based incentives. It should also detail the timing and method of payment. Duties and responsibilities. This clause outlines the duties and responsibilities of the management entity, including decision-making authority, compliance with laws and regulations, and fiduciary obligations towards the managed entity or organization. Reporting and performance metrics. This clause defines the reporting requirements, including the frequency, format, and content of the reports to be provided by the management entity. It may also establish key performance indicators, KPIs, or metrics to measure the performance of the management services. Indemnification and liability. This clause addresses the indemnification of the management entity for any claims, damages, or liabilities arising out of the performance of their duties, subject to certain limitations and exceptions. Confidentiality and non-disclosure. This clause imposes obligations on the management entity to maintain the confidentiality of sensitive information obtained during the contract period and restricts the disclosure of such information to third parties. Intellectual property. If the management contract involves the use of intellectual property, this clause should address ownership rights, licensing agreements, and any restrictions on the use or transfer of intellectual property assets. Dispute resolution. This clause establishes the mechanism for resolving disputes between the parties, such as arbitration, mediation, or litigation. It defines the process, venue, and governing law for dispute resolution. Governing law and jurisdiction. This clause specifies the governing law that will apply to the management contract and the jurisdiction where any legal disputes will be resolved. It provides clarity on the legal framework under which the contract will be interpreted and enforced. It is important to note that management contracts can be complex and may require additional clauses depending on the specific needs and requirements of the parties involved. Consulting with legal professionals who specialize in contract law and management agreements is advisable to ensure all relevant aspects are adequately addressed.